Colors, halt. Right face. Hold. Colors. Present arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order arms. Left face. Forward march.
We're on to item D, Superintendent's Report. Number 1, good news.
We don't have any specific good news for this board meeting, but I don't think Colonel Emery is in the auditorium. She's probably in the back with her with the JROTC program. I just want to recognize Colonel Emery for the work that she did in developing the JROTC program. And so just as an explanation, there's actually a technical name, it's NCSDD, when you're not a federally funded JROTC program. But because of the development of the program in such a short period of time, it is now a funded JROTC program. So I know Colonel Emery has been on us about setting up an interview so that we can find her replacement, and it's been very difficult because of all of this is hiring season, so it's been a challenge to cover all of those positions to the HR department. However, we do plan to interview next week. Is it next week that we have it scheduled? Did we get it scheduled? So that we can find a replacement. I don't think that, we hope that we will find a replacement that is enthusiastic as Colonel Emery. However, if we don't, we'll be calling her to help support the new person if she's available. So thank you.
All right. We're on to item number 2, State Competition Awards for the 2021-2022 school year.
I appreciate the holler, however that was. Good evening, Dr. Walters, Board of Education, community members. It's always an honor to sit here and be part of not just one team, but many teams that put together, again, my opinion, which I think most people share, the most successful sports season school year ever. And so to be a part of that, something I know I'll carry with me the rest of my life, and I know most of these athletes and coaches will as well, just the special year that this was. In many, many, many sports. And even some of the sports I'm going to mention tonight, there was just a lot of first accomplishments for teams and individuals this year, and so we're just so proud of everything they accomplished, the work they put in, athletes and coaches. So tonight we want to recognize multiple teams. These first 4 or 5 teams, if I say your name right now, I'll have that team, would you stand where you're at to be recognized by a team that way. And then our high school track teams will eventually come to the stage here in a little bit, just so everybody knows how this is going to play out. But first team we want to recognize is our cheerleading team from Kankakee High School. If there's any members of you, please stand up. So amongst the first cheerleading squad that we had qualified to compete at the state finals, and we're looking forward to many of those appearances in the years to come. They put a lot of work in to get there, so we appreciate that, and congratulations. And the next sport, our esports team. And so this was the first year that the IHSA offered a state series in esports. So in other words, gaming, which is a very, very popular area. Remember as our esports team here? No, so the very first year ever, again, we qualified out of sectionals, we went to state finals and got 9th place, so we're proud of Coach Keon and the job those athletes did as well. We recognize these guys early in the year, but again, we want to bring recognition of the fact they were the first team in school history to appear in a team state championship game, but our football team. So So any of our football players, are you present? Would you please stand up? And I saw a few straggling at the end. Again, the belief that our football team, opened the door. Once athletes see one team get there, I think it makes it a little bit easier to get there in other sports because you actually believe your team, your school can do it. Girls wrestlers, we had, this was, I think was the first, it is the first year for the, I'd say, to offer a girls state series. So this year we had 2 ladies qualify. I don't know, was Alejandra or Estefani here? They make it? Maybe not. So just impressive that we had girls be represented with the first girls state series, and then Alejandra actually finished 8th place in her division. So congratulations to Coach Burns and the girls. Our powerlifting team, I know I still Coach Brown. Any of our powerlifters here, would you please stand up? Just stay where you're at. Powerlifters, we had multiple state qualifiers. I think it's important to note that Kiela Dunlap got second, Jerica Harris got second, Samaya McIntosh got second, and Mr. Stephen Young was a state champion in their division. So congratulations to Coach Brown and that program. Making sure I run through it. Next program would be our junior high track team. Would any of our junior high coaches and track members, will you please stand up? So again, a great performance at the state meet. I know Coach Jackson's here. I know Coach Bender. I see Coach Randall back there. Any other coaches here? Coach Olmstead's here. I don't know if Coach Christian's here or not. Sydney here? No. They had multiple state champions as well. I don't want to leave anybody out. We finished first in the 4x1, 100-meter dash champion, 200-meter dash champion. So the future is bright, considering what our high school team did this year with the talent coming in behind them as incoming freshmen. So congratulations to our junior high track team for the job they did this year. And last but definitely not least, would the boys and girls track teams and coaches please make your way to the stage? Yeah, you can clap one way up. So while they're coming up, I think again I just mentioned the football made the first appearance. The girls not only showed up and took the championship, they dominated the championship. So our girls team this year is the first team state championship team in school history. Come on, guys, don't be shy. Come on out. And to my understanding, they dominated everything. What are you looking at? You want me to come on? Just come on out, right? Stand on the stage. You want?
Come on so I can see you. Come on so they can see you.
Okay. Okay, so first off,
Girls first.
we'll go first. Jakia Ottman. Jakia was part of the first place 4x200 meter relay team. It's going to be boys and girls. It's an alphabetical order, so let's go with it. Tyrese Bender. Did I hear it? Naomi Bay Osborne.
Three there.
Ariane Brown. Nakyra Cooks. Nicholas Hall. Jair Hill. Keep going? Okay. Did Jair come up here? Photo op. Nazir Hill? Nas? Anaya Lewis. So good. Slow down a little bit. Nevaeh Lowe. Jayon Morrow. I was told to say this, so I gotta honor my commitment, but Sydney, the champion Ramsey. Sanaya Stewart. Jalen Townsend. Yes.
On the other side, Shania.
And then any remaining members of the boys and girls team can please step forward. Also like to recognize our coaches. Head coach Marquise Lowe. Assistant coach Erica Baptiste. Assistant coach Jocelyn Crowell. And assistant coach Sarah Ganster. Everybody, yeah, stay. I think they're gonna take a picture, guys. So everybody, Mr. Yonka's in the middle. Jair. One more.
Why y'all make-
Jair was moving. You guys, yeah. Thank you guys. And just in closing, I just want to say thank you to the school board, the administration, everybody who made this possible, and all the support you guys have given our programs, the opportunity to achieve these great things. So again, thank you for all your support.
We're on to item 3, instruction. Yes.
Hello, good evening. Happy summer. And how about another round of applause for all of our great student athletes as they lead. Takes a lot of commitment, time, practice, and a lot of support, so we're thankful for them. Today I have a special presenter that I want to share with you. His name is Dr. John Berkey. He is a longtime superintendent in Huntley and is currently the director of the Large Unit District Association. He does a lot of work working with superintendents across the state, as well as a lot of advocacy work with legislation and laws and policy in Springfield regarding education. He met with our amazing administrative team earlier today and talked a lot about some innovative problem solving. So if you can please turn your attention to Dr. John Berkey.
Good evening, Dr. Walters and Board of Education. It's great to be here this evening. I thought all the students would want to stay and hear this. I wonder what happened. I'm used to the room clearing out after awards go. So, no, it is great to be here, and just wanted to take a few minutes to, one, tell you just a little bit about LUDA, but talk a little bit about CBE from the bigger state perspective. And before I get into any of that, there were a couple of things at your places that I wanted to point out. One, there's a handout that shows all of the districts in Illinois that are part of the competency-based pilot, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. And the second thing is a book that we published last year about the CBE pilot, and Kankakee is one of the 7 districts that's profiled in that book. And so I wanted to make sure if you have not seen it, that you have a copy of that book. So just to begin a little bit about LUDA, we represent 52 of the largest unit districts in Illinois. Our largest district is Elgin U46, which is the 2nd largest in the state, and we have a lot of suburban districts, but we also have a lot of downstate districts, central Illinois, some Metro East districts. So we are geographically very diverse. The only thing that really binds us together is all our districts are large, and they're all pre-K through 12 school districts. And so to be a superintendent and a cabinet administrator in a large unit district is a really different job than it is in a small district. And so our superintendents really appreciate the time to collaborate together. And we do 2 things as LUDA, and one of them is provide opportunities for that collaboration. We also have 3 major conferences a year, which most of our superintendents attend. And the second part of what we do is we do advocacy in Springfield. And we both work on legislation and policy issues. And I wish I could tell you that we spend a lot of our time advancing positive things in legislation, but a lot of it is being defensive. And there's oftentimes many pieces of legislation that are going to be mandates on schools, things that are going to be just, in our view, not beneficial for districts. So we spend a lot of time, we can't always stop them, but we can oftentimes make them better. And then also we work on other policy things. One of the biggest things we've been involved in the last 6 months is we've been advocating really hard for some changes to the state assessment system. And so we've been very active in that and did a position paper on that a couple of months ago, and I think we've had a lot of influence in that realm. So if at some later point in time, especially when we're in legislative session next year, I'm always happy to come back and talk more specifically about legislation. If you would like to know more about specific things that are happening at that point in time. So Dr. Walters knows I'm always available to come and speak again on that. But today, let's talk about CBE just very briefly. I know you know a lot about it, but just from a high level. The first thing I want to tell you, and I mean this, I'm not just saying this because of the audience, Kankakee is one of the top leaders in this state in the CBE pilot, and I would say that in any audience I was in. I will tell you that you're very well respected as a district, and while you see a lot of districts on that list, they're all at different places, and some are just in the infancy of doing competency-based education, and some are what I would really call leaders, and Kankakee is one of those that's really a leader. When I was the superintendent in Huntley, I also got Huntley to be one of the 10 original pilot districts. So that's a commonality I share with Kankakee, is that I was there at the infancy, so it's a really special thing to me, and I think a really, really important thing. So the pilot started initially in 2016, and it now is closed. They're not letting any new districts into the pilot, and ISB is currently undergoing a review of what is going on, in the different districts. That's why we put that book together. In fact, we're the only organization that's done any kind of systematic review of the pilot in Illinois. So they used our book, they are using that book as part of their evaluation system. So I know that when you change something as substantially as what the work you're doing here with competency-based education, it's going to be really, really challenging. I sat in the seats you're in from a perspective of having to implement a program like that, which is a radical change, help sell it to the public, and help people understand it. Because the challenge I found with it is, and I think districts are finding, is it really changes the way people know and understand school. Everybody in this room went to school. And so everybody has a view of what school should look like. And I can tell you, what it looked like when I went to school. And 30 years ago, today, it's not that much different than it was 100 years ago. And, just historically, schools are structured the way they are and classrooms are structured the way they are because schools were designed 100 years ago, 150 years ago to produce factory workers. And so kids were taught that way. The other thing, and a visual I can always offer, is even when I was in school 30 plus years ago, everything I learned from a content standpoint in school, in my whole pre-K through 12 education, today I can get on my phone. Everything from a content standpoint. We don't need education and teachers to just teach students what they can get on their phone. We need education to teach students what to do with this information. So it completely changes how we assess kids, is we need to be measuring what kids can do, and that's what competencies are. And so while something like the CBE pilot, to people who don't know a lot about it, might think, oh, this is just some new fad that's happening in education. I can tell you this, it really isn't. This mirrors the way our society is moving. It mirrors what our kids are gonna have to do when they go out into the workplace. I mean, when you're in a job, as all of you do in your respective jobs, you get measured on what you actually do. And you don't just get a letter grade. And if you don't get something right, your boss is gonna want you to fix it, learn from it, and do it better the next time. That's what competency-based education is. And so that's why I'm such a huge advocate of it. And I just wanted you to know more than anything, coming here tonight, that, when you're in your own local district, you see the lens through this place, but I just wanted you to know that statewide, you are known as the competency district and very progressive, and I don't want to embarrass Dr. Walters, but I'm going to tell you, she's a leader in this and a leader in talking about how we can reimagine school, how we can make time different for students. And I know that Kankakee did some really innovative but also challenging things during the pandemic. But my hope for all of education coming out of the pandemic is we learn from it. And schools shouldn't go back to the way they were before the pandemic. And I think you're positioned in a really good place for that. The last comment I would make is I know one of the challenges, and I know it has been a challenge here, is that when you change something this substantially, there are people that don't understand how to navigate that new system, and it can cause pushback. And I can give you a great personal example. I have two kids. I have one who's a freshman in college and one who's a freshman in high school. My son, who's a freshman in college, went through Huntley High School right a year ahead of the CBE pilot. So he didn't have the opportunity to be in it, but he would have greatly benefited from it because he did not play school well. And he was smart enough to do it. He just didn't want to do what had to be done. He wasn't interested in school. And I think he would have really benefited from it. So he's on to college now and actually finally found his place in college. My daughter, who's a freshman, she knows how to play school. And she is a teacher pleaser. We don't ever have to say a word to her about getting her homework done, studying. She's in AP classes, all that stuff. And so when she became a freshman, I said to her, Kate, this CBE pilot, which I got Huntley into, you really should be in it because it's a cohort choice program in Huntley. And I said, you should be in it. And she said to me, she goes, Dad, I don't know. I really want school to look like it did in 8th grade because I knew how to get A's. And so I saw that in my own two kids, how I still think my daughter would really benefit from it. But in her eyes, she's figured out traditional school. And I'm sure there's many students in Kankakee that have figured out traditional school. But we got to remember that school today, even for the kids that think they have it figured out, the world they're going to enter isn't the same world that kids entered 100 years ago or 30 years ago or even 3 years ago. And so I think that this reimagining and rethinking school is going to be really important. With that being said, you're going to learn a lot through the pilot, and that's the point of a pilot. Is you may change the way you've done some of CBE, and you may do things differently. In fact, you should learn from things that go on. But I would just really encourage you to do anything you can to stick with the concept and continue to make it work, because I just think you've done some really phenomenal work here. So those are my kind of comments. I don't know if you have questions or any,
Does
whatever.
the board have any questions or comments?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, they don't. All right, thank you, sir.
Well, and thank you very much for having me tonight.
Thank you.
And we're on to,
Yeah.
oh, you still
I still
have
have
more?
some great things about instruction to share. Lots of great things happening. So I wanted to take a minute, and while we were recognizing our student athletes, I also wanted to take a minute to recognize our Math Bowl contestants, our students that represented Kankakee in the 2021 Math Bowl. And so we have some of those students here. We have 16 students that were from 1st to 8th grade, and they represented our school district at the South Cook Math Bowl that took place at Prairie State College. There was 2 students competed in individual and teams, and they worked together to solve a variety of logic puzzles. Our 5th and 6th grade team placed 6th. We have Wyatt. If you're here, can you come up when I call your name? All right. Is it Arcelia Gonzalez? Here? Jaden? Jaden here? Gail? Gail? And our other competitors were Aaron, Daryl, Dylan, Daniela, you here? Jackie, Gabe, Eileen, Miles, and Gabriella. Did I miss anyone? Are there any other? Come on up, what's your name? Adam. So we're very, very proud to honor these students who represented Kankakee in the Math Bowl. And let them take a picture with Dr. Walters. Aww. That's awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations. And we're going to be looking to strengthen our competitors in the Math Bowl, offering some after-school camps, math camps, to kind of practice those skills, and hopefully those kids can recruit some more team players to be on their Math Bowl team. So we're really excited about that. I also wanted to share just a little bit about the summer learning that's taken place across the district. So for kindergarten through high school, we are serving about almost 500 students a day in our summer learning programs. I didn't get the pre-K numbers, so we're probably a little bit over 500, but we are serving about 500 students kindergarten through high school in our summer learning programs. At K-8, we're really focusing on the mental health and social emotional learning needs of our students. And I just wanted to share a quick video so you can see what our awesome teachers and our summer learning coordinators have been planning and put in place. One of the things I want to share with you really quickly about our K through 8 summer learning program is you can tell from the pictures, there's a very strong focus on reading. And so the social emotional curriculum and skills are embedded in a strong literacy curriculum. And at K through 6 in particular, we actually took the technology away. And kids are not working on computers or working in programs. They're actually working with paper and pencils and in front of teachers. And the teachers are reading books. You can tell from the pictures that the kids are into the books and reading. So we're really, really proud of that. And the kids are excited and the teachers are very excited about that. So thank you for the support of that summer learning curriculum. It was called Summer Lit Camp. I've heard nothing but amazing things from everyone. Yep. Do you have any questions for me?
Does the board have any questions? Mr. Boland?
Ms. Hybert and we're approving a lot of contracts tonight related to
Yes.
your department. Like
Yes.
$720,000 worth of contracts.
Right.
So it's an intimidation amount to me. But several of those, I know we are renewals or previous, because we approved them last year, but
Right.
and it would be helpful for me if we had a process of how successful and how used these contract support systems are. Maybe for next year, we could say who was responsible for this and how many teachers logged on, how many teacher hours were used, how many,
Yes.
so that we know that the money is being spent for something that's actually being used as opposed to just saying we've got this system.
Sure, absolutely. And I will also make that part of my curriculum committee agenda, and so you can look at the return on
great.
investment. Because I know it is a significant amount, and we want to make sure that makes an impact on students.
Right, it's a lot of money.
I do want to let you know from instructional programs, and that before we do renew a contract, we do review that internally, but I'll make sure that I share that, especially with the curriculum committee and beyond.
Can we
Thank
get that
you.
by the end of the week to the board members?
I don't expect it by the end of the week. We're gonna approve it tonight, but
Well, we actually have a system, right? That we already pull that data, and so it
Okay.
shouldn't be difficult to
Yeah.
get the.
great, that wasn't my expectation. My expectation, I'm
Well, we
not trying.
forget if we don't, get it out.
Okay, very good. All right, super, thank you. That would be helpful, but it's not gonna impede what happens tonight. I just
Okay.
would be
But
helpful.
I do think it would be nice for you to see that data.
Yeah, it sure would.
Oh, absolutely. And I will do that going forward as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hybert. We will now move on to finance. Dr. Nicole Smith.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent Walters, team members, and community members. As we move to close out the current fiscal year, there's a lot of transitional activities going on, as well as opening the new fiscal year. Part of those efforts include budget discussions and meetings with departments, as well as the principals, and just crafting those budgets for next year, as well as working with cabinet. A couple of things that I'm bringing to the board this evening for approval include requesting $7 million to be moved from PNC over to Midland. We're just about done with that transition. That'll leave approximately $800,000 in the PNC account. There are a couple of outstanding checks or activities that we're waiting to clear, and that's why that hasn't been taken all the way out. The transition in general has been moving along very nicely, with just about all the accounts being fully switched over and the depositors also switched over. Kankakee School District received a renewal extension for its current workers' comp insurance policy with ICRMT, which stands for the Illinois Counties Risk Management Trust, to continue with the current level of coverage. The plan will span from July 1st through June 30th of next year. We're looking at approximately a 0.08% increase over the current year's premium, taking it from $654,000 to $660,000. There's also a request to renew the lease for First Presbyterian for next school year. They currently lease classroom spaces to our school district from August to May to be used for educational purposes. The annual cost is about $16,000, which is up up from 12,000 charged in the current year. And the reason for that are the exuberant increases to your utility costs and operational costs. A couple of construction updates. LCC, the boiler is moving along very well. We are expecting that project to be completed in August as expected. Kennedy and King Mechanicals, there is a delay with getting those chillers, but we are anticipating those materials in September. And then Kankakee Junior High, that is also operating on schedule. We are expecting that to be done at the anticipated time frame. There may be some delays with furniture, but we will just use the current furniture to.
My understanding is that there will be delays.
So has been conversations about utilizing the current furniture to supplement until that furniture comes in. That is all I have for this evening. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board? There are no questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Personnel, Miss Shamika Fountain. This is gonna make you a doctor. All of these doctors walking around here.
Good evening, Dr. Walters, Board President, and to the members of the Board of Education. Happy to present our personnel report for this evening. First, I would like to say that Governor State, who is partnering with our school district, came on March 24th to meet with some of our teachers who desire to go into educational administration. And I'm going to put them on the spot. They didn't know I was going to do this, but we had certain, some of our members from the school district that apply are here. Miss Lee Credeti, can you stand? Yay. And Miss Candace Jackson, can you stand or wave your hand? Thank you. So one of the goals of HR is to grow our own program, and with this Governor State program, our teachers could become administrators through a program at Governor State. We need a certain amount of teachers to apply in order to make it a cohort. We need at least 13 teachers. We had about 23 teachers in attendance. And this program would be for about 2 years, and it would take place at KCC. And once teachers complete the program, they will have their license to be an administrator. So we're happy that one of the goals of the HR department was to grow our own, and we're happy to partner with Governor State University to provide this opportunity for our teachers at a very cost-effective rate for them. A lot of people say that the Governor State program is a lot cheaper than some of the other programs, so we're proud of those teachers that decided to be a part. Also this evening, I would like to introduce 2 new members for approval tonight for the Board of Education for administrative positions. And I'm going to ask if they will stand when I call their names. Mr. Joseph Davies. Mr. Davies is a candidate for assistant principal at Kankakee Junior High. Mr. Davies is currently a teacher in Joliet Public School District 86. Mr. Davies has his Bachelor's of Science degree in elementary education and from Illinois State University, and his Master's of Science in Educational Administration from the University of St. Francis. Mr. Davies has been a 7th and 8th grade teacher where he has taught math, science, social science, language arts, and I did say science. So we are really happy to have him as part of the Kankakee School District 111 family. And again, please welcome Mr. Davies. Our next candidate is Dr. Dawn Hill. I believe I saw her. Yay. Oh, she's right there, okay. Dr. Hill comes to us with a wealth of experience in education. She has been an assistant principal and also a principal. Dr. Hill also has been a resident principal also in the Chicago Public School System. Dr. Hill has a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education from Tennessee State University, a Master's of Education in School Guiding and Counseling from the University of Arkansas, her Administration and Supervision Type 75 certificate was obtained at Loyola University, and Dr. Hill has a Doctorate of Education in Administration and Supervision, also from Loyola University. Again, Dr. Hill will bring a wealth of knowledge and experience to the principal's position at Mark Twain Elementary School. So please help us welcome Dr. Hill. We are so happy to have both of you join Kankakee School District 111. And that's the end of my report. Are there any questions?
Does the board have any questions? No, they do not.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we are on to item E, public comments. Do we have any? There are no public comments. We're on to item F, consent agenda action items. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Gadding. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Johnston. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Archie,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes.
Gadding,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Williams, Wells,
Yes. The motion carries. We're on to item G, action items, approval of board member expense reimbursement. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Gadding. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Johnston. Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll?
Bolin,
Yes.
Gadding,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Williams, Archie,
Yes.
Wells,
I will abstain. Approval of the lease renewal for First Presbyterian Church of Kankakee.
Move to approve.
Okay, moved by Bolin. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gadding. Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll?
Gadding,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Williams, Archie,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes.
Wells,
Yes, and the motion carries. Approval of ICRMT workers' compensation renewal.
Move to approve.
Moved by Bolin. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Gavin. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Johnston,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Archie,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes.
Gadding,
Yes.
Wells,
Yes. Motion carries. Approval of transfer of funds between Kankakee School District accounts.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gavin,
Second.
seconded by Bolin. Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll?
Barrett,
Yes.
Archie,
Yes.
Bolin,
Yes.
Gadding,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Wells,
Yes. Approval of recommended salary increases for special other non-certified employees 2022-2023 school year.
So moved.
Moved by Gavin, second.
Second.
Second by Archie. Madam Secretary?
Johnston.
I'm sorry.
Second by Johnson.
Well, second by Johnston. Madam Secretary, can you please call the roll?
Archie,
Yes.
Bolin,
I vote yes, except to abstain as to family member.
Gadding,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Wells,
Yes, and the motion carries. Approval of, approval of contract with Illuminate Consultant.
No, we've got,
Is another salary increase?
Go
I'm
back
sorry,
to
I was-
six.
I was
Number
reading the
six.
same. Number six, approval of recommended salary increases, administrative, 2022-2023 school year.
So moved.
Moved by Gavin, second. Second. Second by Archie. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Archie,
Yes.
Bolin,
yes.
Gadding,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Barrett,
Yes.
Wells,
Yes, and the motion carries. Approval of contract with Illuminate Consulting,
So moved.
moved by Gathing. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Johnston. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Boland,
Yes?
Gathing,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Archie,
Yes.
Wells,
Yes, and the motion carries. Approval of resolution to appoint Robert Grossi as treasurer of Kankakee School District,
So moved.
moved by Gathing. Is there a second? Second. Second by Archie. Madam Secretary, would you please call the roll?
Gathing,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Brett,
Yes.
Archie,
Yes.
Boland,
Can I just ask for clarification? Is this father or son?
This is Son.
Thank you. Okay. Yes.
Wells,
Yes. And the motion carries. On to item H, old business. Where we need to have a discussion at Mr. Boland's request about the appointment of a committee of parents, teachers, administrators, and board member to analyze our present communication process. Who would like to begin the discussion?
Can I start?
Excuse me?
Can I explain what we had? Is that okay?
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Walters.
Okay, so in 2014-15, we were mandated by the state to work with a school improvement program, like a learning partner. And at that time, we had probably about 50 different groups of people meeting, and it literally was 50. Each building had a school improvement team, a PBIS team, a PBIS Tier 1, a PBIS Tier 2. So we had a group of administrators, teachers, and there was one parent there that we decided to create a communication plan. So the communication plan is kind of like a flow chart. You have your board you have your board, then we have cabinet, then we have district leadership team, which at one point did include a board member and a parent. I think during the pandemic, there may not have been a parent representative. And I think, Barb, you used to be the person that came for DLT? Okay, and then there was a board representative. And I do think that if you decide to stay with the communication plan that has been in place, then we need to make sure that there's a board member or a couple of board members and more parents that are participating in the district leadership team. Then we have DLPT, which consists of all of our administrators coming together. During the pandemic, we broke up into grade bands, but now that the pandemic is over, we plan to have DLPT, which is district leadership and planning teams, and then also still have our grade band meetings. And then we have had KFT informals, which during the pandemic, we had about 60 people that were on the KFT formals every Tuesday. And so then we have school leadership team. Those are the teams that determine decisions that are at the building level, not at the central office level, but the building level. They should be meeting monthly. We have our instructional leadership teams, and then we have, and then our staff meetings. And so that is actually our communication flow chart. Now, what I'm asking is, do we want to add to that communication flow chart? Or is there an issue that we can take to DLT, which is basically the structure that's being recommended? I'm open to whatever the board decides. It does create additional work because we would have an additional team outside of the communication plan that's already been in place since 2015.
Okay. I'm gonna call on Mr. Boland since he has asked for this item to be on the agenda.
Here's my concern. When I wanted to know what events were going to happen in the weeks of May with the Fine Arts Group, there is absolutely no place to find that information as a member of the community. So I did what I do for almost anything I need to know. I called Rachel and said, can you pull this together for me? And she very helpfully pulled that together. But I was the only person in the community that had that information. We're not communicating. My concern, I don't care whether we use existing structure or any structure, but there's no attention being paid to communicating things that within the district to the community to start with. Things like we do a great job of signing days for athletes. And as I broached this a year ago, we don't do anything to acknowledge to the public the same kind of a picture of a student that gets accepted at college or gets sworn into the armed forces or does something of great note that we should be acknowledging. And maybe it's too minuscule for people to care about, but I don't think so. I think it's something of interest. We've talked about CBE here tonight. And I take full responsibility. I don't think the community has any clue what CBE is, except perhaps the parent community. But the community at large is what I'm talking about. And that's where we need support. I think I hear all the time, and we've seen letters, we've heard comments about parents that feel that the communication has not worked well. And yet we nod our heads or shake our heads and say that's not true or that is true, but we don't ever pick it up and say, let's look at that issue. If we have an existing system to do it, I'm perfectly happy. That's fine. But I'm asking then we initiate a process to get these issues before any group that can make any recommendations that might help. And I hear teachers, and of course, whatever it is, but say that if you only had better communication, and I thought we had great communication during the pandemic with your informal sessions, but I think that because of other pressing issues, that takes a lot of time. So somehow there's a system that has to be in place that keeps looking at what are we not doing well and what could we do better. I've complained about the website since I got on the board. I know I'm an old fart that complains about websites. I take that. But there are still a whole lot of old people like me that use websites to get information. That's where you start. And I've had people who have moved into the community said, I went on the website and I have no idea what your school district does. And I wish I could say, well, it's really easy, just navigate it this way. It's not. But that's only one minor issue. It's not a minor issue, it's a major issue to me. But I think there's a whole lot we're doing that we're not communicating well with. And if these systems were put in place in 14 and 15, I don't know that we've looked at them since I've been on the board at all through any of the systems that I was aware of. So all I'm asking is it's time to look at it again. It's like it's time to look at what the buildings need to have done to them again. It's something that may have to be done every year, but I know that we're not communicating to the community at large. I know that because nobody, when I talk to people who are not directly involved in the school district, but live in our district, they don't have a clue as to what we're doing. And that's on us. So if we have an existing system, let's activate it and let's create a system that we can put on some agendas and start looking at things to see how we can make it better.
Okay, Superintendent, would you like to respond?
So I'm going to put the administrators on the spot. So we do have the title is community engagement, and that's Mr. Yanka. So the problem is that every building is responsible for getting information to Mr. Yanka so that he can, that's just the communication piece, not the website piece, so that the communication can get out. The reason why athletics is probably at the forefront of what happens is because one person goes out of his way to make sure that information gets out. We have 33 other administrators that have to actively participate in getting that information to Mr. Yanka so that he can get that information out through social media and through the website. We need to work on the website. One of the things that I did ask Mr. Yanka to do is to start to, specifically for the high school, is to start to use K's Media and divide K's Media into the different social media platforms, including the website, and then have that a part of their class to have the Instagram, I don't know the social media, I'm sorry, but to have the Instagram group and the K Facebook group and so that Mr. Yankin and I talked about that about a month or so ago. It was the end of the school year, so we're hoping that we can get K's Media to help with communication at the high school, not necessarily the rest of the district. And then I also am working with an Olivet student, Michelle. Her name is Michelle. She was a 2020 graduate. She is going to help create content and information for those people that are still paper pencil. And she's already started to collect that data, and we also have a cover and everything that she's going to start to get that information out, at least for a year. She's a senior at Olivet. Priscilla Carmona. So, and I met her through, she was at the junior high at an event, and she explained how she went to KCC and how wonderful of experience it was, and I said she should communicate that, because we don't communicate our academic success as well, and so then it grew into her helping us to push out more information about the academic side of it. But I do want to make sure that everyone knows, the reason why the athletics is forefront is because of the athletic director. All the rest of us need to take responsibility for getting that information and pushing that information out to get the other information out in a timely manner and very visible to the rest of the community. But it is only one person that's pushing out the athletic department. We have 33 other administrators, including myself, that can help with the other part of what we do in the school district.
Are you done? Ms. Johnston?
Our website is about as unuser-friendly as I've seen. And if I'm looking for athletics, which I'm going to be, I have to actually go into the athletic page, go to 8 to 18, go to whatever sport I'm looking for, and then go to the schedule. And I'm proposing a possibility that we have a calendar. And the calendar has all the athletics for every day. For the month of May, I know that I put together a calendar when I was coaching that every day what we are doing. I don't know why that can't be done on our website as a, you're gonna say something, aren't you?
Well, Rachel wants to say something. I'm waiting for you because I'm going to allow her to say something because she manages the calendar.
Okay, well, and I know that when I was the assistant athletic director, we had to get all of our sports schedules to central office by, I want to say February. I knew it was really early. And we had to do that because we had an actual calendar that we printed that went out to parents, teachers, kids, everybody. So all those schedules were in the back of the calendar, but they weren't on the
When I
calendar.
was in school, even when I was in school,
What? I can't hear you.
like 30 years.
Long time ago.
Yeah, we did.
It wasn't that long. I mean,
No, we did it for a very long time.
oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we did. And so I would like to know, not just for athletics, I was corrected to say, don't just say athletics, it's extracurricular activities. So you're talking band, drama, chorus, dance, everything that could be on that calendar for that month. I know that a lot of the schools have their own websites that I get on because I see them and they're wonderful. But there's only a couple of schools that are doing it. So, I mean, and they're very informative and I like that. But as far as our website as a school district, I would like to be able to just go, click on event calendar and you're gonna get.
She's waiting.
I know she is. And with the event calendar, and then see what's going on for that month of, go ahead, Rachel.
We do
I
have that.
I know this is a little unorthodox, but she does manage the calendar.
Kathy sent an email. Kathy actually gets it. She had created a Google document for all admin and secretaries to add whatever they are having in that building for the year on that calendar, and it goes on the district calendar. So again, they have access to it all year. So that would be like admin and clerical need to add everything that they need to that Google form, and it goes, Corey puts it on the calendar on our website.
And is it all the activities?
Yes,
Like, music?
everybody can use it.
I think they're missing the part that they have to give her the information.
Yes, they're missing the part they have to fill out the Google form.
Okay.
But I can make sure Kathy sends it out and has everybody put everything on there. So we have it on the calendar.
It would help. At least that way you could go into this, events calendar and you can see that all of the concerts that are going on, especially in the month of May, which is almost daily.
Yeah, because that's how I put the board meetings. I fill out the calendar to put the board meetings. I fill out the calendar.
Right.
I think for the days off, I haven't done it this year yet. I have to ask again, but yeah.
Well, you got a couple months,
Yeah.
So I think this speaks back to accountability. We have a system that we don't necessarily need to recreate, which is separate from what the website process. That's a lengthy process. But the system, all the administrators need to use it and to compare. Basically, you're comparing one person that lives, breathes, does this at midnight to the rest of us that need to make sure that we're getting that information to Kathy Hunger so she can give it to Corey so he can put it on the calendar.
All right, Ms. Ferret?
So, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying that the reason that the other information is not as available as the sports is because someone in the building isn't giving that information? So is the someone in the building, is that something that they can do, or are they too busy to do that? Do they need to hire somebody to do that? Is somebody appointed to do that? How does that work?
I personally do not want to hire someone to do that. I mean, I guess at some point we might be able to do that, but I think that you have 11 buildings, and each building needs to be responsible for getting that information to Ms. Hunger so she can get the information to the tech person, so the tech person can put it on the calendar.
So
And they're here, so they hear me saying this, so I'm hoping that this will encourage them to do it.
So I do want to add that if this is something that is, I'm not sure what it all entails for the admin in the buildings and what they have to do and how busy they are or not. But if it's something that they need to appoint someone to do, I really would like to see them do that, only because I always say this because it's really how I feel. I really think about the kids in this situation. And so I know we get busy, and I know days get busy, but how our kids feel is really important. And so it looks as if we only care about sports. I know it's not true, but that's the perception that the kids are gonna have because that's all you see. That's all you see. And so I'm not saying this to negatively impact anybody or anything. I just really want us to really think about what's important to kids. And everybody doesn't have family that's cheering them on and encouraging them to do well. And so as a district, we need to make sure that for those kids who don't have that we are letting them know that we care and that we want to celebrate everything they do. If it's math, if it's whatever their academic strengths are, I want to make sure we're celebrating all of that because it's been said over again, it's the truth, that this is a sports town, but sports is not the only thing that our school should be known for. Although it's great, and I'm so proud of our kids who are doing that, but the kids who do things outside of sports, they should be celebrated just as much. And so in your busy day, if that's what's holding us back from not knowing and celebrating what kids are doing, please appoint somebody to do that. Please appoint somebody to do that because our kids are watching and they are being affected by that.
So I do want to defend the principals a little bit. The parents of the students that are impacted by the activities do know about the activities. So we're really not talking about the parents of the students and the families that are in these buildings. We're really talking about the broader community and the board and the superintendent. But we're not necessarily talking about a student I'm gonna pick at LCC because I'm looking at you. The parents and the families at LCC know all of the events that happen at LCC. It's just that the broader community may not know about those events. So I just wanna make sure that that's clear. It's not like the parents are missing it because they do a really good job of communicating with their families.
LCC has a great newsletter.
And some of our other buildings as well.
All right. Is there any further discussion from the board? All right. So the superintendent, if I understand you correctly, you've communicated to your staff through this meeting that they need to use the resources we have in place, communicate, use the Google document, and then that information will go onto the calendar that's on the district's splash page. And you can click calendar, and then everything that's going on a particular day, you will see it if they submit it.
Yes.
And then we do need to do a better job of celebrating our academics, so that the community knows, and so that the kids know that we know and that we care. Is that correct, Ms. Verrett?
Yeah.
What you were saying?
Yeah, and again, Priscilla Carmona is a person that's a senior at Olivet in the marketing department that actually is also working with me on the more paper pencil and not necessarily social media platforms to get it out to the broader community.
Okay. Now, if there's nothing further,
I like.
Did you have something,
Yes.
Mr. Gavin?
Yes, I do. We, the girls and boys track team, came forth tonight and you gave them their awards, which was great. And just like they said, for the first time in history, we won a state championship. Well, I got a chance to be, to ride along with them and to drive along with them. And what was a happy time for both the kids and for Kankakee. We go through life as human beings, and you get to see your sports teams win championships. And I'm 67 years old, so I've seen the Sox, I've seen the Cubs, I've seen the Bears, I've seen the Bulls, I've seen the Sky. I've seen them all win championships. The Blackhawks win three or four of them. That they've all won championships, and those are things that kids or people can carry with them for the rest of their lives of what happened. And what happened down at Charleston Eastern University for our kids in our community was you wouldn't believe it unless you had been there. We won a couple of races, and we literally had the people standing in the stands cheering as we won both 4x4s, and just to be there, just to see the kids be the winners, and like I said, I cried. Yeah, it brought tears to my eyes because it was Kankakee and it was Kankakee's kids, and then it was the supporting communities like Herscher, Bradley, and some of the others that were there cheering with us as we won. And our kids, our girls and boys, that will be memories that they'll have for the rest of their lives. And guess what? They made Kankakee, they put Kankakee on the map, and they made Kankakee a great place to be. And Kankakee High School, and people are wondering around the state what Dr. Walters is doing with our kids. But Dr. Walters and our athletic department have done with our kids, and they've done a great job. And I just want to say thank you to them because we couldn't have got there without Ronnie and Dr. Walters. So a big shout out to our superintendent and our athletic director for the work that's been done with our kids. Thank you.
All right. We have one more item, information and proposals. Is there anything you need to talk to us about on here?
No, Youth Palooza is on Friday.
That's calendar notes. Okay, nothing on information proposal? Yes, this week is Juneteenth, and the Juneteenth celebration committee has things going on all week long. They have a website, not a website, but a Facebook page if you want to know what's happening and come out and celebrate Juneteenth with the community. There is youth, what do you call it?
Youth Palooza.
Youth Palooza at the high school. And what's going to be happening at Youth Palooza?
We will have a presenter at 11 o'clock, and we are inviting the youth to come in. His name is Pastor Parker. He's the only living relative of Emmett Till, and so it'll be interesting to hear his story and him present to our students around that experience during that time period.
Okay. And then there's also a Juneteenth parade on Saturday, and then there's also a event in Pioneer Park that goes on for most of the day Saturday. And on the 19th, on Father's Day, they have a banquet. If you want a ticket, you can look on their website and find out how to get tickets. It's $30. They're honoring fathers this Juneteenth and celebrating what our fathers help us all accomplish. So that's very exciting this week, and I can't wait to see you Palooza. All right. And our next Board of Education meeting will be on July 11th, but before then, we do need to schedule this special board meeting before the end of this month. So can I get some dates in the next 2 weeks that you all are available to meet.
Thursday of this week?
Okay.
How about the 23rd?
Did I hear, the 25th is Saturday?
I said 23rd.
Third,
Okay, I'm sorry. 23rd?
Or the, I mean, does, you know,
no,
what do you mean, no?
I agree with Jess.
22nd?
23rd is, what's called meeting, finance.
Oh, we were going to reschedule that because Mr. Bowen.
Oh, look at there. Oh, he's not even gonna be here.
Well, if there's a board meeting, I'll have to come back, so I guess.
Can we move it to towards that last week in June? Yeah, like the
Done it every year.
27th.
Okay, so we have the 27th, 28th, or the 30th.
28th. Do it on Monday.
No, 27th.
What time?
The 28th is in the evening?
27th, what time?
Monday.
In the evening, Mr. Boland? Or are you gonna be in
Mr.
town?
Boland's gone.
You still gonna be out of town?
You said it, I'll figure out whether I'm driving back for it or not. I mean, just whatever day you said, I'm on vacation for 2 weeks in northern Michigan. So,
Okay.
Well, let's have it this week.
Well, we won't have time. So this is for personnel and finance. We won't have time, we spent all day today to get everything in place. We won't have time to interview, negotiate contracts.
just set it, whatever works for everybody else.
Chris, you just stay on vacation. We
We
can,
have
we can,
July?
we can have you zoom in. Can you zoom in?
So we're trying to get it done in this current fiscal year.
No, it's gotta be done before July.
27th, at what time? 5:30
What day, what did, or Monday the 27th?
at 5:30?
It's 5:30, good?
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
You just say no.
5:30?
Yeah.
Okay, 5:30, Monday, the 27th.
Here?
In Michigan.
Let's Zoom. Zoom.
At the high school? Junior high? Madam President?
I don't know yet.
Let me check the calendar first.
Thank you. So,
That calendar I was
to
like,
be arranged, Rachel will let us know what space is available.
it's gotta be air conditioned.
Always is, for us.
Not always.
What's the,
All right. Is there nothing further from the superintendent or the board?
no,
At this time, I would like a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
second?
All right, it's been moved and second. All in favor?
I
All right, this meeting is now adjourned.
didn't get the second at this time.
Let me tell you what happened.